Good morning, beautiful people. Today we're going to be talking about something very serious. We are heading upon July 11th, which will make the first anniversary of Charles Vallow's killing. We all know that Alex Cox and Lori devised a plan, and probably, in my opinion, with their sister Summer and possibly Melanie Pulowski. Don't forget that Charles had gone to Brandon and Melanie's home talking about maybe showing the list of the dark and light people. So Melanie knew that Charles was on to the cult. That is my opinion. Melanie Boudreau at the time knew that Charles was searching deeper into the makings and who is who in the cult. He also was really petrified of the light and the dark ratings in the dark and light rubric that Chad Daybell had made expressly for Lori. So that tells me something. That tells me that Chad and Lori were planning something by this rubric. And this is when I listened to an interview with Justin Lum from Phoenix 10 News. And he said that when he found that email himself with the light and dark rubric, he said that the only way you could get higher on that rubric if you had multiple probations. So I take it as you had to die, come back to life, die, come back to life. That's the only way that you could increase in lightness. So considering Lori was, at one point, she noted that she was married to the brother of Jesus Christ, James the Just. So that was one probation. And then she said that she was also the grandmother of Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormon faith. So there's another probation. So we don't know exactly how many probations that Lori Daybell thought she had, or how many Chad and her made up that she had. But we know that they were into becoming lighter and lighter themselves, even though we can take it and put it that they were going darker and darker. On this earth, they were going darker and darker. In their earth, in their made-up world, they were going lighter and lighter, even though they were committing evil acts. Even back then, they were committing all kinds of things. And, I know I don't want to use the 10 Commandments because I don't want to make people who are non-religious upset, but they went against the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. We know that Lori, in her adulthood, stole. Whether it was the $35,000 that she took out of Charles's business account, or whether it was she stealing a man. She stole Chad away from his wife. So the good news is, people, and this is what you need to hear. Nathan Moffat said that they are close to indicting Lori Daybell for charges for Charles's death. He's the lead investigator, and he's from the Chandler, Arizona area. And I'm not sure why this statement came from him. But yes, there was a statement from Nathan Moffat and saying that Lori Daybell is very close to getting indicted for Charles's death. We know that Alex can't, but we still get Chatty Boy on board for another charge. We just want to keep those charges piling up and piling up. So I'm hoping that sooner than later. So when we talking about Charles Vallow, we gotta, as I talked about in other videos, is we gotta understand what made him go in that house. If Charles's truck was parked in the driveway, then he knew Alex was there. So did they hide Alex's truck somewhere else and then put it back after the murder? That's the only thing I have come up with, is that he didn't know Alex was there. But if we are to believe what Tylee said, and why I'm saying that is, you know as well as I do, parents that are that controlling, especially Tylee's mother and her uncle Alex, could make her say whatever they wanted her to protect Lori and Alex. So somehow they said that day that Charles was getting in Lori's face. And then Tylee ran off and got a pink metal bat. She came back with the bat, and Charles pulled it from her. And he pulled it so hard from her, there was a little wrestling going on with the bat, and Tylee fell to the floor. And then Lori looked at Tylee and said, "Go outside." So Tylee left the house. So whether these facts are true or not, this is what they said. Then Lori said that she was in the kitchen and she heard loud noises. After that, she went and stood with Alex with Charles's body, didn't really say much, and then just went outside and took JJ to school, and obviously took Tylee with her. Now, when that 911 call, when Alex calls 911 and said, "I just shot my brother-in-law, I just killed him," or he thought he might have killed him, that 911 operator asked Alex if he would give Charles CPR. And you know the answer. It's quite clear on the 911 recording. No, he says. He doesn't know how to do CPR. Well, no one really knows how to do CPR when they're on the spot. Like the ones that have taken classes, it seems pretty simple, but then really have to use it. You know that Alex did not want to try to revive Charles just by that statement. Anyone else that had a heart would say, "Yes, what do I do?" Not Alex Cox, not the hitman for Summer. She sent him over the night before, and you know that. She admitted that on the 48 Hours episode, that the reason Alex was there, she was in fear of Lori and Tylee's life. And she sent her brother over to protect them from Charles. So she kind of gave circumstantial evidence, in my opinion. She kind of gave the police in that interview, that really stated a mindset in Summer, what she wanted an outcome to be. She wanted the outcome to be that her brother Alex, the one that she knows touts guns as a hobby, as just a personal protection, she sent him over to Lori's. And you know what I feel about that. It was planned. So Lori never told JJ that his father was dead. she made it off that he was traveling to JJ. Charles was traveling. And then you got to add in circumstantial evidence. Did she have any remorse? Remember that statement while she was smiling? Hi, neighbors. Sorry. Who would ever be concerned about the neighbors? The only concern you would have is for that person lying on your floor. But not Lori Vallow at the time. Hi, neighbors. Sorry. It is a crazy world in Lori Vallow Daybell's world. It is a crazy world in Chad Daybell's world. So the facts weren't congruent, because if Alex was trying to save his niece or save his sister, why was she in the kitchen? So where's the congruency here? If you're trying to save someone, if that's why you're sent there by the other hit lady, Summer Shitlett, then why is Lori in the kitchen, nowhere near Alex and Charles? Why did Alex run from Charles to go to get a gun? Well, you don't have to be a police officer to understand that's all baloney. I believe Alex was there waiting in that room and shot Charles as he entered, probably because Lori had lured him in some way. Was it the phone? Did she take his phone from him, run into the house, and he followed her and fell into that deadly trap? It's a possibility. We don't know. We don't know. But what we do know from this interview that I watched is, okay, so we can't find anything that we know of, the general public. Hopefully the police know more and have more evidence to the killing of Charles. But Nancy Grace made a point of this. She knows circumstantial evidence. That buying a wedding dress, buying 2 rings, and buying wedding attire for Chad 17 days or so before the demise of Tammy Daybell is circumstantial evidence that Lori Daybell, Lori Vallow at the time, ordered rings on her dead husband's Amazon account, ordered their wedding attire 17 days or so before Tammy Daybell died. Is that not circumstantial evidence? Nancy Grace says. What is Lori a fortune teller? Does she see who's going to die like Chad does? Is that her new? I mean, she's not only a beauty queen, she's not only a exercise sort of fanatic, but now she can tell people's fortunes. Now, the other uncanny thing, isn't it circumstantial evidence when the landlord in Hawaii had an email stating that they didn't have children. They did not have minor children or pets. Well, of course they didn't have a pet. They had given JJ's dog away. And of course they didn't have children because they had murdered them both in September. They also told Chad's parents the same thing. Is that not circumstantial evidence? That they that Lori was an empty nester, that she had no minor children. And then let's not forget April Raymond, the friend out in Hawaii. She heard of that light and dark rubric and all of her LDS upbringing. She was born into the LDS religion and has been an LDS faithful member since her birth. She had never heard of light and dark. This was all new to her. Lori had told her that Charles had a demon inside of him named Ned Schneider. When Lori was with April Raymond in Hawaii, she had pages and pages and pages of list of names that showed which one was light and which one was dark. April thought she was having some type of life crisis. She thought that these beliefs wouldn't cause any harm. And you know what? This is where Gib can jump in. Because when you look at April, you don't see the 1,000-mile stare that Gib has. When you look at April, she doesn't look transfixed. She doesn't look like Gib. Gib looks like she's searching for the right things to say all the time. Not because she's trying to lie, but just because she doesn't know somewhat what's right and what's wrong. She's so transfixed in this bizarre dogmatic beliefs of light and dark and zombies and whatnot. April does not present that way. As far as I'm concerned, April's a great witness for the prosecution because she presents with normal level feelings and emotions towards these situations. But what's sad in this case is no matter how crazy Lori's thoughts were and all of this stuff about light and dark and Charles being a zombie and having Ned Schneider in him, didn't raise it for April to think that there was going to be any harm. So that's why we're going to give a little bit of some points towards, okay, if April Raymond didn't know that Lori was on her way to cause harm, then how would Gib know? Because Gib is way out there. April seems very centered. Lori had told April that she was selected to be one of the 144,000. But Lori had told April that she'd have to leave her 2 sons behind. April did not bite. So Tylee was there, April said, when Lori was telling April all of her odd beliefs about the light and dark, and that she was the grandmother of Joseph Smith, the founder of LDS, and that she was also the wife of James the Just, which is Jesus's brother. And that she talked about being a goddess. And Nancy Grace asked April Raymond, what was Tylee doing sitting there? And she says she was unfazed, that Tylee appeared to have known all of this stuff. It was nothing new, and she just blew it off, sort of. Now, remember, Charles had told the police that same information, that she was the wife of James the Just, that she was a goddess, that she had to go see Moroni and pray with him so many times a day, and that Charles was Ned Schneider, but Charles in his interview, I heard Nick Schneider. Somehow the name has changed from Nick to Ned, and it doesn't matter. We all know who Charles and who April and who Gib is talking about. This new person that had got into Charles's body as far as Lori was concerned. And so these all demonstrate that Lori was telling everyone the same information. Charles wasn't making this up. April Raymond was in a different state. She wasn't having contact with Charles. She didn't make it up. Tylee was sitting right there, very unfazed. So the sad part is, you got to understand, Charles's anniversary is, and when I say anniversary, it's a sad anniversary. By no means is it a happy anniversary. Is this Saturday, July 11th, 2020. He was killed a year ago, last Friday, July 11th, 2019. And from then on, more misery and more deaths and more corruption. And as I said before, I'm wondering if the police, because it is interstate murders and people are traveling from one state to another, and it does seem, as I called the Daybell enterprise before, the cult enterprise, it does take an enterprise, an organized amount of crime to fall under the RICO statute. And I'm hoping that it will. It's the racketeering and organized crime statute that the federal government has. And I'm hoping that's what they're doing as far as interstate goes, that they're using that RICO law. And of course, I've said it before, I say it again, I'm an attorney, I have no experience working in a law firm or anything like that. I've worked with lawyers a lot on cases of different kinds, but I have never been an employed person in a law firm. But I will tell you that in my little head, I believe that the RICO statute could come in this situation, because it's interstate and it's organized crime. They're organizing these murders. There's many people involved in the murders and whatnot. So I'm in defense of Charles. I am so hoping that they can use the RICO statute to nail these people. And I don't know the perimeters of what would stop them from using the RICO statute. But in my opinion, they have plenty of evidence at this point to use it. I want to play just a little statement from Janice Cox, Lori's mother, Alex's mother, and talking about Alex. Listen to what she says.
But he doesn't have the intensity of a hitman.
If that wasn't loud enough, I'm going to play it one more time.
But he doesn't have the intensity of a hitman.
Now, wouldn't you think that's an odd thing for a mother to say about her son? The reporter was asking if he was involved in some murders, particularly with Charles, because he's the one at that time that we knew had been shot and killed by Alex Cox. But do you hear those words? He doesn't have the intensity of a hitman. Now, if someone asked me if my son could be a hitman, those aren't my words. Where did she get, he does not have the intensity of a hitman? Is she doing the psychobabble stuff again? That she knows he has the intensity. We heard it described in the Joe Ryan case when he went after him with the stun gun and spent time in jail and was trying to foster up other people to harm Joseph Ryan while he was in jail. So how is that not the intensity? How is that if you go to jail for stun gunning someone, trying to murder that person, then you're in jail trying to get other people in the jail to go out and harm him or have their friends that are already outside harm Joe Ryan. How is that not intensity? That's my question. But with that said, guys, this Saturday, we're going to have a Charles Vallow Day. That means you can come to my channel and you can give your ideas and thoughts about Charles Vallow, about what we've learned about him from the people that knew him best, and how we can prevent the next Charles Vallow. That's what's really important. The lesson has to be learned, and it's a hard lesson to learn. But there's too many men ignored out there. That's why July 11th needs to go down in history as the day that we start changing our beliefs when men are domestically violated. And that all of this was about a woman having an outside lover who created this fantastic, crazy, mind-boggling way to have the husband killed. And that happened using the so-called man without the intensity, summoned by Summer to Lori's house July 10th in wait of Charles Vallow. This is domestic violence in its rawest form. They will never make me think differently, even though that's what they want us all to believe, that they're all nice people, that they have nothing in their hearts to harm. But I said it before, guys. I'll say it again. If Summer Shitlet really wanted to cause no harm on that morning, she would have called the police to come and say, hey, Charles seems kind of out of control right now. I'm a little scared for my sister. She wouldn't send her half-cocked brother that carries guns to the house unless it was a planned murder, in my opinion. So with that said, we cannot ever let go of this murder, the one that started the chain reaction. And I want to end this with, I don't want you to forget when I believe it was Nate Eaton from East Idaho News was chasing after Lori and Chad as they're swiftly walking away from him. And he said something to Lori. He said, don't you care about where your children is? The whole world's worrying about your children. And she looked at him in the most sarcastic way. And she said, that's great. Well, no, it isn't, people. It's great when you're ugly, and there's a lot of ugly out there. So even though it's a beautiful world and you're beautiful people, watch out for the ugly. Because we see full clear that it isn't great. Control. So
kids alone. Hey, Chad, Lori, leave all kids alone. All in all, it's just another lie beyond the veil.